What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Awesome Nerd Show. Today we're looking at more of the NECA Gargoyle figures, and this time we have Thailog and Demona. So we've had Thailog for a while, just haven't got around to doing him. But more recently we got Demona, so I figured we'd just throw them here together and do them at once, especially since Thailog's going to be just like Goliath that we've already looked at. So we have something that we've kind of already looked at, but then a new figure here with Demona. So we have them in the boxes. You probably can't tell from here, but there's a size difference between the two. So the Demona is a little smaller than Thailog, which would make sense. But let's go and look at Thailog here. If we go ahead and open the cover, we can see the actual figure in there. So there is Thailog with a bunch of the accessories. Looks pretty cool, you know, just like Goliath, just in a different color is really all this is, with the awesome picture there on the side, awesome artwork on the box, and then the pictures there on the back, which are cool. And then we can look at Demona as well. So again, all her artwork there on the box, and then we can open the flap and see her inside there. So that looks really cool as well with the accessory she comes with. So a nice figure here once again for our gargoyles. So I like the Goliath a lot. There had some issues a lot with the wings, which these will have the same sort of issues, and I've seen Demona has a lot of issues, so hopefully ours is good and we don't have any problems with that. So I'll just have to open it and we'll see what comes out of it. But let me go and get them open. They are NECA, so I will heat them up and we'll take a look at them together. Well, let's start off with Thailog, which of course is going to be exactly like Goliath, he's just in a different color here. So he's got like a darker purple skin, maybe like an indigo or something. It's got a little blue tinge to it as well, as you can see. And then of course they have some dark highlights. So you can see them like on the ripples and stuff in his chest and muscles. But he's a clone made from genetic material of Goliath by Dr. Severius. But he has an accelerated maturation process to make him about the same age as Goliath. But they tend to be polar opposites in personality with altered pigmentation due to the accelerated aging process. So that's why he has the all white hair and then the darker color skin as they're explaining it. So otherwise he looks, you know, exactly like Goliath. If we bring him in, they'll look identical, obviously just the color change. So as mentioned, he has the white hair and that same hair design as Goliath. We have the same sort of face design. He's just got the nice red eyes, which I think are pretty cool and like pop out in there, with the teeth sort of showing there, and of course his pointy ears and everything. Of course the all blue body as I mentioned, and then he has a blue like loincloth material stuff, so is the belt around his waist just like Goliath, but the material is blue this time instead of the brown. Of course his tail there in the back with the bendy wire in it so it can move wherever you need it to, and then the color continuing down the legs to the feet. So it's pretty cool. It's another Goliath though, unfortunately, so it's not like it's a figure that's needed, especially if you have Goliath. This is just if you want to expand your ranks of the gargoyles and have different characters from the show. That's what this mostly serves, but otherwise you don't really have to have this. But while I'm at it, let's go and bring in Goliath here so you can see the similarities between the two figures. So there you can see they look exactly the same. In most features, we of course have the head switch out for a different one here, but they look pretty much exactly the same, exact same bodies, just reused once again, and just the different colors, which is perfect for Thailog since that's how he's made. You know, it's easily just take the old figure and just repaint it. It's all you got to do for a figure. So that's pretty cool. And like I said, it's going to be awesome to have like these two facing off against each other to have a different version of like the same figure. But let's go and do his movement. So his head there can twist a little side to side with his hair and everything. You don't really get to go too far, and you can look down that far and up a little bit there. So very little movement in the neck, unfortunately, but with the hair it kind of all makes sense. We get the shoulders that can come up to about 45 degrees there, a little bit over, but not anywhere near 90, and that can rotate around within there as well. We get a bicep twist, the double elbow joints. We get the upper and lower elbow joint piece that can bend up that far, which isn't too bad, and then the wrist can twist around and flex on the ball joint. We have an ab crunch, which is maybe hard to see, but there's a line right across there. So it allows it to twist back and forth and rock a little back and forth as well, not much. But then there's also the lower joint that allows it to sort of twist even more in there. We go down to the hips that can come up close to 90 there. Of course, with the material, it doesn't allow it fully, but very close to 90. Out to the side should be pretty close to doing the split. Yeah, not too far off. Have a little bit of thigh twist in there. A single knee joint that bends back that far, so over 90, so which is pretty good, with a little bit of a twist in it. And then we get the ankle joints, so it can rock back and forth and twist a little side to side. And then we get the toe joints as well that can bend back and forth and twist a little side to side themselves. Now, of course, with the leg design and everything and the way the gargoyles are supposed to like stand up on their tiptoes like that, it is really hard to get this figure to stand. Like I get him to, especially with balancing him with like the tail in the back, but because of the tail joint, which can move back and forth and twist side to side and everything, it doesn't really hold it up too well because the tail just slowly starts going back, so he just keeps sliding backwards. So it's really difficult with these, especially when we get the wings on him. It'll be really difficult to get him to stand, but we do have some of the NECA stands that we'll have to pop him on, which is what we have Goliath on. So hopefully we won't have too many issues getting him to stand once that happens.
And before we get to his wings, let's go and look at his other accessories. So he comes with some additional hands. So he has a set of fist hands, which is always pretty cool. So he has the 2 claw hands there. So you get a pair of fist hands as well. And then we also get a grip hand with like a trigger finger for his weapons. So that's pretty cool. We have that. And speaking of the weapon, so first off, we have a flare gun. So it just looks like a gun with like this big bullet piece on the end of it that can pop off. So it can be like shooting. And with this, we also get a huge effect for it as well. I don't know which end goes where, maybe this way. So you can pop this off and then take this big long piece and pop it right in there. And then it's like this big long stick. So it's like the explosion there and then the line going out with smoke and everything. Then we can pop the flare piece in the end of it here. So there it's at the end of it. So it's like this long thing shooting out, which I assume with this also, it's going to be really hard to get this into his hand and stable, but it looks really cool. But like the function, I assume will not be there. It'd be pretty cool to try it out, but this would be a thing to definitely get on the stands, have the wings for maybe some counterbalance and everything. But just for now, it's going to be pretty hard. But let's see if I can get just the gun itself into his hand. So there's the gun in his hand. It wasn't too difficult to get in there. The hand's a little bit stiff, but it kind of just slid right in there pretty easily. So not bad at all for that flare gun, which is cool. He also comes with a suitcase with money in it. So this nice suitcase design, it's probably one of the nicest suitcases for toys I've ever seen. So it just looks really nice, has the hinges and everything. And we can open it up and it is full of money and some keys. So that's pretty cool. I assume part of the show and everything. So pretty nice set of suitcase. You could probably use this for just about anything because it looks so nice and pretty realistic. So that's an awesome suitcase to throw in. And then of course the most difficult part of these is the wings. So we have the 2 wing pieces, and of course once again just like Goliath, it has the big open wings, so they're going to be sticking out at all times. So let me go ahead and try and get these popped into his back, and hopefully I can get him to the stand and everything to show this off. So there I got the wings on Thailog, and he looks pretty cool there. Of course they're the big open wings, so you always have to have them in the open position. They popped in pretty easily. I just popped his head off to get better access to it, and they popped in pretty easily. The only issue with the wings is like their ability to like flap, I guess, to move back and forth. Those joints are made of like a harder plastic and it feels really cheap. So as you bend them, they start popping and look like they could break just super easily. So it's pretty much once you get in position, you should probably just leave it there so they don't possibly break or anything. Now I do have issues getting him to stand. His right leg is really weak at the joints, and I do have him on a NECA base. So got one of the black NECA bases just to pop him on. And so he stands up pretty easily on there, but his right leg is just so weak, like at the ankle joint, that he keeps like falling side to side because it just keeps like giving out, which stinks a lot. So it's hard to get him to really stand up, and he's always crooked and everything at the position it's in. But thankfully the tail helps hold him up and everything. So I would definitely recommend that if you get these figures to try and get the NECA stands. They have them in the black like I have here, or they have them in clear, and just pop him on one of those just to help get him to stand up and brace him with the tail and everything. But overall it looks pretty cool. I just wish they functioned a lot easier to like actually work, but they tend to be like NECAs where the joints are real stiff, so you heat them up, and then once you do that, they're then super weak like this one, so his ankles just keep giving out. Like a lot of our turtles just keep falling because of their weak ankles, so that just stinks a lot about NECA. But they're nice figures, just they don't function too well. This looks really cool here. Like I said, it's another version of Goliath, so not necessary, but does look really cool though for Thailog. And next up we have Demona, which in the old times was the lover of Goliath, but she turned against him as a co-conspirator of the Wyvern Massacre and spent the last 1,000 years seeking to exterminate all humans. And then now in the modern times, she's one of the Manhattan clan's greatest enemies, so she is a bad gargoyle. And overall she looks pretty cool, so it's nice to get a female form, so she's much skinnier and like just size-wise overall smaller compared to the other ones, which is perfectly fine, especially with their size and the joints and stuff. Probably will make it a lot easier to get her to stand, but looks pretty good with her bright red hair. So she has the shorter hair on top, so it's almost like a mullet with the long hair tail there in the back, so that is pretty cool. She's got the all blue skin this time, and then there's a look at her face. So she has like the gargoyle facial bumps and stuff, so she has the big prominent head, but of course she has like this crown piece on over the top of it. But there you can see her face with the pointy ears, the red lipstick, and I like how they even put in the little metal links for her earrings and stuff, so that I like that detail in there. And even as you shake it, they move around. And then she just has like a cloth top on. She has a little metal band there on her arm, a belt around her waist with a cloth material matching the top, so it's like almost like a burlap design, and real thin and skinny on her, so you can see her midsection and their bare legs going down. I like the prominent like knee points on there, that's pretty cool. And then she has another metal band there around her ankle, and then just her feet at the bottom look just like the other gargoyles, so pretty nice. And then she has her tail in the back there in the blue, of course bendy wire and all that sort of stuff. So this is a pretty nice figure, just overall, especially looks for Demona here. So hopefully once we get her wings and everything, she'll work just fine. But as I mentioned, she was the lover of Goliath, so let's go and bring that Goliath back in. So there you can see the height differences, so you can see just how big Goliath is compared to her. So you can see that for like the males will be much bigger than the females and everything. So I like that size comparison, especially for these two. But let's go and do her movements. So her head there can twist pretty much all the way around. Yeah, her hair gets out of the way and she can look down that far and up just about that far because of her hair. So better movements than Thailog at least. Shoulders can come up to 90 and rotate all the way around. We get a bicep twist, the double elbow joint that bends up pretty far, I believe. If we get them to bend, yeah, it can bring very close to all the way up on itself. And then the wrist can twist around and flex back and forth. And then under her chest, we have a crunch, so she can crunch forward, crunch back there, and twist side to side as well. And then we get dips that can come up very close to 90 out to the side, not far from the splits, thigh twist, the double knee joint on her, which is pretty cool. So it bends up that far. She technically can kick her own butt. And then we get the ankle joint that can rock back and forth and twist side to side. And then we have the same toe joints on the end that move back and forth and twist a little as well. So just like the others, getting her to stand up on her toes is pretty hard, but she's much easier to get than the other two, and she's not falling over and has a little bit stiffer joints. So overall, she functions much better compared to them. Now, she comes with a number of accessories as well, so if we get some additional hands for her. So first off, we have the fist hands. So just like Thailog, we get a set of fist hands, as well as some hands for holding stuff. So we have a hand with a trigger finger, as well as just a holding hand for like some of her accessories. She comes with an additional face, so she has like sort of the angry face, very similar to what Goliath had with his additional faces, but this is just a faceplate that you pop off, which actually isn't too hard. At least for me, it wasn't too hard to pop off. You just got to grab her face and sort of just yank it off. And without the face, that's what it looks like. So that looks like a whole new creature there. But then you just take this, and of course you got to get the holes lined up and then just slide this other face on. So there she is looking all angry. So that looks pretty nice that we have an additional head, and it makes her even more mean and evil. That fits for her, so that is pretty cool. But I think I like the other face more. And then for her accessories, first off, we have a book, the Grimorum Arcanium book. So this is a pretty cool book design with looks like some dragons or something on there, and it actually opens up and functions. Now it is supposed to be able to close all the way, but something's happened with our front cover of the book that it's like stuck under the spine of the book, so it like won't fold down, unfortunately. So it's always going to be open for us because ours is stuck. But there is like a front page section there, so you can see the front section, and then you can open up to like the middle pages. So that's cool, and it even has a little latch that once again, if it would close, would actually hold it shut. But unfortunately ours is stuck, so we're always just going to have to leave it open in like this position, unfortunately. So that kind of stinks for us, but it's a really nice looking book. Of course, it's all just gibberish written in there, but really nice book design, and everything just overall is pretty cool about this. So you can put that in her hands with those additional hands. And then she comes with some weapons. So first off, we have a particle beam rifle. So this big futuristic rifle thing with a nice cool bullet design there in the end of it. So a nice big gun piece there we can put into her hand, as well as a bazooka. So this is pretty cool, big like rocket launcher thing. Very nice design. I like the like bluish gray material and then the brown as well. So it's just a nice combination of colors. Even has the little scope up on top there. So pretty nice design just overall. So we can put these in our hands that we'll try eventually. And of course, finally, we get her a wing accessory. So her wings are much smaller compared to the other figures. So hopefully they'll go in her back much easier. And I have seen a lot of people have issues with these. So we'll have to see if I have any. So let me get these into her back. So there's the wings on Demona, and hers didn't have much issues at all. I don't know if we got one where they fixed some of the issues that people have had originally, but I think they fit pretty well. They don't fall. I think that was an issue if they would like fall or not stay in the right position. So I, as at least of right now, don't have any issues, and they stick just where I want them to. But again, she is hard to stand up, so I did have to pop her on one of the bases. But I think overall that looks cool. I like her wing designs, especially with like the purple on the inside. That looks really cool. I just wish their heads could look up a little bit more since they're gargoyles and have to like sort of lean over. And of course, with the falling of their legs, I guess if you get her to stand up more straight, you can see her easier. But I just wish you could see the faces a little bit better. So just by looking them up a little bit. But overall, I think she looks really good. Like I like the wing designs, like I said. I think they're a little bit smaller and work a little bit easier on her, and just her overall body design. I just wish they could come up with something for like the ankles and everything to actually get them to stand up pretty easily, because that is the most difficult thing with these figures. But I did want to try to get one of the guns in her hand, so I have to try and get it into her hand and then try and get her positioned with it and everything. So let me see what I can do. So there I got the bazooka in her hand, because I could not figure out how to get this rifle into her hand just with the way the hand design is. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'll have to try and look up a picture for it. But I could not figure out how to get that into her hand. But I put the bazooka there, so there she is trying to fire the bazooka off, which is pretty cool. I do like that design. So that is pretty cool there overall just for Demona. Well, there we've got our NECA Gargoyles Thailog and Demona figures. Both are pretty cool, but have a lot of issues, as I've pointed out. But let me know what you thought of these two figures down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know with a thumbs up. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.